listening to the Video Game and Nerd Trivia Podcast with Tony D. Video Game and Nerd Trivia Podcast, your episodic dose of trivia covering all things video games and nerdy. Now, here's your host, Tony D.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Video Game Nerd Trivia Podcast, and today is another Minisode. So again, with Minisodes, it's 10 questions only. I ask you a question, give you 5 seconds of silence, and then give you the answer. And we're going to be going over a very specific topic today. I love this topic. It's Mortal Kombat, but specifically it's going to be about the Mortal Kombat Minigames. The developers of Mortal Kombat always love putting random minigames in their games that make things a little bit more interesting for people. So let's just begin right now. Question 1. Which Mortal Kombat game had the very first minigame of the Mortal Kombat series? That would be the very first Mortal Kombat game, so that's Mortal Kombat 1. Question 2. Which Mortal Kombat minigame was played in a way that there was a board and each character represented pieces on that board that had to fight each other? This was chess combat. It wasn't exactly chess, but it was similar in a way that there is a board and there's many different pieces and each character represented a different type of piece. Question 3. What Mortal Kombat minigame pitted characters against each other in a racing format, where they can use their special moves while racing to attack each other? This is similar to Mario Kart, and it was called Mortal Kombat. Question 4. Which Mortal Kombat minigame was also a direct copy of Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo? This was simply named Puzzle Combat. Question 5. What is the mode in Mortal Kombat where random modifiers are placed to make the fight more interesting, like falling meteors, upside down screen, and poison effects? This was Test Your Luck. Question 6. What's the name of the very first Mortal Kombat minigame in the first Mortal Kombat game? This was Test Your Might. Of course, this is the one where you press all the buttons, and then when it hits a certain level, you press the start button or something, and your hand will chop through pieces of wood or whatever that material is. Question 7. What Mortal Kombat minigame was their version of the 3-shell game where you kind of keep your eye on the object under several cups that move around really quickly? I thought the name of this one was really funny. It was called Test Your Sight. Question 8. Which minigame is very similar to Test Your Might, but instead of chopping all the blocks, you have to aim specifically at a certain block that you want to strike rather than all of them? This one was called Test Your Strike. Question 9. Taking advantage of the PS Vita's gyroscope, which minigame required you to tilt the PS Vita to prevent your character from falling to their death? This was Test Your Balance. And then question 10, which minigame was basically the MK version of Fruit Ninja, where instead of fruits, you actually slice body parts in the air? This was simply Test Your Slice. Quite honestly, I actually forgot about a lot of these, and then when I was looking up this list to make this quiz, a lot of my memories came back of like the good times I had with these, so it was pretty fun writing this quiz. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you like our podcast, please give us a rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or anywhere you're listening to this podcast. It will help people discover this podcast and see if they like it for themselves. Reach out to us on social media if you want to suggest some topics at VGNT Podcast on Twitter and VGNT Podcast 1 on Instagram. Thank you again so much for listening to this podcast, and until next time, trivia on.